Hello, this is Dr. Leah Roth here in Fat Freud. Shrink me, I'm just waking up. The podcast where psychoanalysis stretches. So grab a cup and come with me. Let's look at modern science right in the face. Last week we were talking about representation is like sort of an idea, whatever takes your awareness at the moment. And it's always made of three parts: the emotion, the know how, or otherwise called action, and the thought itself. It's not just what something means, it's how it feels and what you do with it. This week I was reading something that made me smile, an article on St. Hugh's research from Salk Institute, and I'm not sure if I pronounce all these words properly. So sorry for that. Anyhow, apparently neuroscience is finally figuring out that sensory pathways don't operate in isolation. They are not like neat little lanes that work on their own, rushing through raw data. They're intertwined. We call it emotion, memory, learning, expectation, ritual, and so many other words. So good for them for catching up, right? But let's be real. We already knew. You knew it too. That's when something hurts. You learn the lesson, right? When you feel something, you take note. That's your thalamus doing more than just relaying pain. It's deciding how to code that moment, that painful moment feeling, into something you don't forget. Know how? I'll know how to defend myself next time. No? That's the whole thing. The three elements I've been telling. And the best part is that neuroscience finally realized that the CGRP neurons they found in the thalamus, they don't just tell your brain, yeah, it hurts. They light up your fear, your defensive mechanism, your story. They connect to the amygdala, the seat of emotion, which means your body doesn't wait for your thoughts to catch up. Basically, there is different ways in which data runs through your body. The fastest one is the electrical. The one that's slower are the ones that have to do with hormones. I'm not a neurologist, but that's basic thing. If your body was waiting for all this to happen, you would be slow to react. But consider when something's falling. You're going to grab a glass, and it all of a sudden it's falling in the air, and you catch up this glass, this cup, midway, without even paying attention, thinking, deciding whether to move the hand or anything. No, it was like, bang, it happened, right? Okay. So today we're talking about how we learn through feeling, how the body isn't just a vehicle, it's a meaning making machine. Stay with me. We are going to unpack why you remember the slap more than the sentence, why you flinch before you speak, and how learning isn't a mental act, it's a full body experience. You ready? Let's wake up together. Great. So, first of all, let's break down a little bit more deep into what Hugh and his team actually found in their study on rats. Because, yes, we're talking rats, mice. And what they uncover is anything but small, really. Make joke about it, but it's important stuff. They looked at a group of neurons in the thalamus, specifically at the CGRP expressing neurons. And these are like little messengers that light up when pain hits. What's wild is that these neurons don't just pass on the ouch part of it, they also trigger emotion. They send signals straight to the amygdala, that point in your brain that controls the emotion. That's where fear, threat, and avoidance get wired in, and it triggers to respond. Now, here's the twist. When researchers turned these neurons off, the rats still felt the pain, but they didn't show fear. No freezing, no flinching, nothing. It's like meaning of the pain was erased. And when they turned those same neurons on, the rats acted scared, even though nothing painful was happening. No heat, no pressure, nothing. No reason to be in pain. But that was the body reacting as if pain was there happening. That means these neurons don't just tell your brain something hurts. They also assign significance. They tell the body this matters, which is exactly what we've been saying all along. Pain is far more than a sensation alone. It's a message, and it sticks because it's wrapped in emotion. Emotion is what makes it count. So yeah, thank you, rats, and thank you for catching up with Freud. But we call it learning, expectation, memory, meaning. We called it, don't go over there, you're going to get it. Yeah, that is the body and the psyche, never processing things separately, but always working as a team. There's no such a thing as a neutral sensation in humans. The moment something touches us, light, sound, heat, a song, whatever, none of these are just sensory. They hit a field of past experiences. They echo through desire, through layers of fear, shame, longing, seeking. When neuroscience catches up and says, oh, emotion and sensation aren't separate, we know. Of course they are not. They never were. That's how we've been surviving for the past thousands of years. That's how we suffer, how we love, how we do it all over again. Thought isn't some floating little cloud out in your skull. It's your skin, your breath, your gut. It's the way your shoulders tighten when someone walks in the room, the way your stomach drops before a phone call. We think in space, in relation, through contact, through movement. The brain, without a body, is just an archive. It stores, it categorizes, but it doesn't know anything real until the body says, this matters. This is safe, that is dangerous. Body is not just a relay station, it's the switchboard for meaning. Keep digging a bit more, and you will discover it too. We don't think just with the brain, we use the whole body. The brain alone is just a fancy machine, cold, isolated. It's the body that brings it all to life. Pain doesn't teach you just because it hurts. Pain is what nudges you to pay attention so your body listens and it takes on the lesson. You remember it because it meant something. And that meaning wasn't born in thought, it was born in the sensation of, ouch, I better not do that again. So let's stop pretending the brain is the star of this show. It's the body that makes sense. The next time your body reacts before your mind explains it, that is not dysfunction. That's pure design. That's the richness of Mother Nature having created this body. So honestly, I've been waiting for decades for neuroscience to catch up. Meanwhile, every few months, someone publishes a new study shouting, it lights up. Yeah, no kidding. Everything lights up if you plug it in. But lighting up is not the same as asking why, how, what for. We've been chasing brain scans like they are scatter maps, but barely asking what does those glowing spots mean in the actual life of a person, in a child learning to read left to right. You ever think about it? Reading left to right? It's not just a cultural rule. There is those that read right to left, those that read up to down, different cultures do it different way. Yes. And it all gives us a different result. It shapes how we experience time. It wires our attention. It makes us lean towards the future and tuck the past behind. It affects how we use space and even how we hand someone a tool. Watch yourself next time. You start to feel time as a line. Forward is right? We draw it like that. A straight line with an arrow. Then we learn it's a spider. But most of the people, if you ask them, they will either do a straight arrow or a zigzag, kind of representing how they feel about life, right? So life becomes the beginning, the open edge. And whether we notice it or not, most of us, after learning that, we favor the left. And when we sit to talk, we pay more attention to the person on our left. Why? Because it becomes our watchful side, the one we check, the place we expect the new to come from. Left is open, right is closure, and right is closure. And that shows up everywhere. But those scans don't show that. They don't show the child realizing that letters flow, that a word is not just a symbol, it's an act itself. So when someone says, pain activates the thalamus, I say, sure, but don't stop there. Look at how body organizes itself around, how it learns to avoid, to repeat, to ritualize, to protect. And that's not brain function. That's embodied intelligence. That's the story behind the scan. Try this right now. Rotate your shoulders. Are they holding up ceiling or are they relaxed? Is your chest awake and open the world or is it hiding away? Kind of turtle position. Well, that's a memory speaking through your body. Ask yourself, since when? What happened? Because we don't just process life in our heads, we perform it, enact it, and we make any sort of things to balance it out. We carry meaning in the way we reach, the way we brace, the way we hold still. Your body remembers even when you forget. And that's why when science isolates a neuron and says, here's where emotion lives, I just shake my head. Emotions live in how you wear your body, in where your shoulders breathe or brace, in where you meet someone's gaze or flinch without knowing why. We don't think in just our brains. Our skin turns pale red or sweaty. Our heartbeat changes. We have habits, expectations, and rituals. We have roles we learn to play before we even have words. Believe me, that is so true. You can read someone without a word. You read them in the way they dress, the colors they use, the posture they hold, how much room they take when they walk into a place. For instance, this patient I had just saw yesterday, she's been coming for a year. At the beginning, always dressy, wearing makeup, even perfume. She would never take off her jacket. Sometimes I was hot and was looking at her wearing the jacket on and thinking, oh my goodness, must be hot. And sitting at the edge of the sofa. But today, a year after, she surprised me with just slack shorts, an old t-shirt, taking room, making herself comfortable, making the therapy space her own. You can read someone by how they seem to feel in their own skin. And that right there, that's what we call confidence. Not always steady, at times needs time to grow, but it's not always an abstract trait. It's embodied because that's where our memories live. Not in folders into your brain, but in your posture, in the way you take on speech, space, movement, anything, or the way you hold back. And we say that memory is back then, no? But no. Memory is very much alive in the lessons we carry, the expectations we hold, and how we interpret. what we feel. If you had a car accident, you become a cautious driver, bracing for the next hit. If you become forgetful and that scares you, every slip becomes evidence, every blank space becomes a symptom. And that is a terrifying place to live. Emotion, know how, the idea, the thing itself, whether it's an accident, an illness, you name it. You either settle into yourself or you don't. You either fill the space you are in or shrink away from it. And everyone around you can feel the difference. Confidence isn't loudness, it's coherence. That moment when your body, your voice, your eyes, your gestures, they are all line up. You're not fighting yourself anymore. You're no longer playing defense against your own feelings or against anyone else. Because, yes, it is true, the body keeps the score. And yes, it is also true that sometimes doesn't keep it accurately. Like when, after heartbreak, so deep you call it betrayal, you end up putting absolutely everyone in the sandbox. And you are left overthinking, disconnected, and all too afraid of hurting again. Or think of the rat in St. Hugh's lab feeling pain when there is no message of emotion attached to it. But you live in a masterful body that Mother Nature has given you. And this is your tool. You can live inside all meanings, or you can bring in a new one. You can learn to handle it differently. You can change what it means to you. And, and when you do that, you realize you'll find yourself holding your space in a different way, relating to your context from a different angle. Feeling, action, thought. Shift one, and the other ones will move too. Self esteem, that's the confidence of body, meaning, and context working together consistently. Not in conflict, no fighting yourself, not fighting others, no rivalry, just communion. That kind of comfort, you can't fake it. Because it's not about appearances, it's about integration. And when you finally start to feel at home in your own body and in your own space, that's when the shifts begin. But to get there, you've got to work through what everything around you means to you, what everything inside you means to you, what it says to your senses of safety, your sense of forward. Try this. How would someone who truly knows you introduce you to a stranger? Now flip it. How would you introduce yourself? That gap, that's where the work is. And you'll know you're getting closer when your daily vocabulary starts to shift and you find yourself using more the words that help you face forward towards the person you want to be. It's not because you're trying to manifest it, but because you're already leaning into it with your senses, your choices, your narrative. That's when confidence isn't just a vibe. Your form of memory finally allowed to rest. This is Dr. Leah Roth. Shrink me, I'm just waking up. Send this episode to someone who is carrying a heavy memory and needs to work it through. And subscribe so we can think about things together, make movements, action, emotion, thought. One dimension work in the other. Take care and see you next time.